Hi, Darrell Crow here. This is a great holiday season. Thanksgiving is almost upon us, and we have a lot to be thankful for. And one of the things I'm most thankful for is all of my students. And I'm thankful that they think enough of our relationship to send us some questions. And so today, I'd like to spend just a couple of minutes answering some of the questions that we've recently gotten over the past few days. To help me out with this, I've asked my videographer, Joe, to read these questions off. Now, you quickly recognize Joe because he's just the voice out of the wilderness here. So we'll start off by asking for the first question. So, Joe, are there any questions for us?
Darrell, I have questions you just dream about. This is like your worst nightmare, but question number one is from Sandy from Oregon. And her question is, how do I hold a knife? I have watched you and tried to get things done, paint mountains, trees with a knife. How do I properly hold a knife?
Well, that's a good question, and it's one that I constantly answer in class. In fact, when I'm teaching class and I have a lot of brand new students, I'll invite them all to come and gather around me. So what I'm going to do right now is ask my videographer to gather around with me with his camera, and we're going to get some nice close-up shots. So let me start off by showing you the knife. There are many different kinds of palette knives. There's the ones that you can paint with, and there are those that you mix paint with. And this is the one that you would mix paint only. It's very difficult to paint with this. I prefer the one with the flat blade. Now, you'll notice it's got a long edge right here and a short edge. And right here is where the blade inserts into the handle. Now, in many cases, there's a metal ferrule that will bind this. So what I like to do, this one just happens to be gone. What I like to do is take my thumb and my forefinger and see how I'm holding it like that. That is exactly the way I hold the knife. Now these three fingers stick up in the air. They don't do anything. I will rest them, if you will, right on the knife. But their job is just to sit down, be a passenger, and not exert any pressure or influence on what the thumb and the forefinger is doing. And then when I go and paint, I hold this at about a 45-degree angle, where the edge of the blade is at a 45-degree angle to the canvas, and then I pull lightly down using absolutely no pressure whatsoever. Now here's where the problem occurs, is this is very uncomfortable to learn how to do. Now once you practice with it, it becomes quite comfortable. However, in the initial learning stages, people feel more comfortable putting their finger on the blade. And what happens is it turns it into a painting instrument, into something like a painting trowel, or if you will, doing cake icing. See, if you're doing mountains, you want the knife to just go ahead and skip over the surface, leaving splotches of color throughout. However, if you are doing waterline, you want to come in at a 90-degree angle, and see that I've got my hand holding the knife with the finger firmly pointed on the blade. And then if I want to do something like painting rocks or mountains, I must remove my finger from the blade and put it around. Now if you're doing some basing, which means you're not highlighting, it's optional how you do this. But I think over time you'll find that by keeping your finger off of the blade, you have the best control of the knife, and it's more comfortable. So this is just a little tip, Sandy. I hope you understand what we've been saying, but more importantly, let me know if this helps you out. And the rest of you, if you find this tip is useful, let us know. If you find that you're still having difficulty, send me a photo of what you're doing, and I'll be able to evaluate it for you. Well, Joe, does that take care of the questions for the day?
No, unfortunately, we have a couple more. Not unfortunately, I mean, I'm glad we do, because you always do help the students out. They're very happy to hear your responses. Second one is from David from Anaheim. And David wants to know, he says he has a really tough time when he uses a script liner. He can't even draw a straight line. What's the secret?
Well, There actually is no secret, okay? The reason why we have a tough time is there are very few of us that are able to take a script liner and just go ahead and draw a perfectly straight line. Naturally, we shake a little bit. Now, this is really good if you're drawing tree branches. And because the more the tree branches shake and move all over the place, the more realistic they look. But if you're doing rigging, say on a tall ship, then it's very important that you can get the line as straight as you can. The only way that I know that you can go ahead and do as straight of a line as possible is if you rest your hand on something, okay? And by that I mean well, let me just show you what I use. And I take this to classes with me. I've got a little $2.99 pointer that I got at the local office supply store. And it's a telescoping one, okay? See like that? See how that just comes right up here? And I take the tip and I put it on the outside edge of a canvas and I can hold my hand and see that? That's about as straight. So I put it on the canvas and the direction that I'm going and I load up the brush and I have an easy way of keeping my hand as steady as I can. That's simply all there is to it. Now, artists have developed a term for this, which is called a mall stick, and you can find many versions of it at your local art supply store. But if you're looking for something you could carry around, go to class with, this little $2.99 extension pointer will do just well. And if you decide to give a presentation in class, it helps you out there, too.
Well, Darrell, that was actually good. I love the way you answered the actual question with the right answer. That's pretty good. But this one's going to be tough.
Okay.
This is going to be a very tough one. This is from Mandy. Mandy says, I've been watching your videos now for quite some time, and one question is really bugging me. What are those spots on your hat?
My hat?
Your hat. What are those?
Well, let's see. Dare I take my hat off
Oh
in
my
public?
God, let me adjust the lighting, please.
Okay. Okay. Well, if I just use the word war wounds, will that satisfy?
War wounds, I can handle it. It's just like it looks like you've splattered sometimes more paint on the hat than on the canvas, and that was the question, I guess.
Well, it really wasn't war paint, Joe. What it is that I now and then brush up against my paints and so forth. And, I thought about cleaning my hat every time I painted, but then I'd always have the hat in the cleaners and never be wearing it. So, to be honest with you, they are war wounds from all the painting. Sometimes I'll sit there and go and forget I got my hat on and go with my paintbrush to scratch my head and I got a spot in there. But that's okay. I don't mind. I love it. So, to answer your question, Mandy, first off, let me say thank you for the question and for pointing that out to me. But it's just basically some paints that I've gotten. So, I got a lot of history of paints up there, I reckon. Well, anyway, I think that about wraps up our time for today. I want to thank you for those questions. Keep them coming. And we love you all. We wish you a nice, happy Thanksgiving. And just as a word, we got something special coming out on Friday, Black Friday. So be watching out for that.